Hi, I'm Diane Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of the book, The Summit Method, no other than Miss Alika Sanon. Welcome
Hello,
to
hello,
Book
hello.
101. Yes, welcome to Book 101, Miss Alikai. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure thing. I'm Malachi Simone. I'm excited to be here and chat a bit about my book. So, I'm an author. Actually, I have a couple of books out. But, for things like a podcast, I also like to showcase that I'm not only an author, I'm a musician, I'm an artist and a muralist. I've been, working in and out of the tech industry through aerospace and self driving cars for over the last 10 years. And it all comes together with also kind of bringing entrepreneurial spirit into everything I do. And that is super important for talking about who I am because it's what funneled me into saying, you know what? I am going to actually start writing books and helping people with my method of the Summit Method, how to basically plan your life. And being someone who has both that creative and technical side of my brain, I needed a method so I could figure out all my dreams around personal growth, finances, career, and community, and how to get there. So, over the last 10 years, I perfected that and started writing these books. And now I go around and speak and continue to write more books, educate people, and hopefully help people along their journey.
Miss Alikai Sanon, thank you for educating us. And we are looking for more empowering books like this. So, what is the Summit Method and what core principles define its approach to building self wealth?
Fantastic. So, the Summit Method, a 3 step strategy for success and self wealth and community, is just that. So, it's these 3 steps where I walk readers through determining their mental tools, like what are the mental tools that you need to establish this beautiful baseline because we all have to be whole in our minds and have that good self-care. We have to be able to have something we can go back to when we hit tough times or challenging times, and those are the mental tools. Some of these include determining your life purpose statement or having a method to center yourself if things get bad. I like to do a mind body spirit exercise and really deciding how you want to craft your mindset. So you start there. That's step one. That's step one of the Summit Method. And then the book transitions into step two, which is planning techniques. And this is where I craft an actual step by step ability to say, okay, what are your big goals? What are your dreams? Use these, guided mind maps to really dive deep into looking at your past, your present, and where you want your future to be. No matter where you are in life, we can all shift and look at these, our next big dreams that we have. So you get these big dreams, and then the planning techniques take you through taking those big dreams and breaking them down into mini steps. Where each year of your 3, 5, 7, whatever X year plan, some people want to do a 5 year plan. Some people just are like, I can plan for 2 years and that's it. While others, they really want to maybe have that 10-year outlook. Maybe they're entrepreneurs really trying to grow a large business. So I take people into mini steps, which is breaking things up into one, guiding light goal for each of those years that comes from those big goals that you come up with in your mind map. But then you still need to funnel it down even more. So that's when you get to this 1 year action plan. Based on your goals and your mini steps, what is one action you're going to do each month of that year that feeds, toward that mini step that's guiding you for your overall year? Then you go to your quarter because you need to, a lot of us jump into January and we're like, oh, these are my, year plan. And you make all these goals. But the problem with that is you have a whole year to look at it. And we often procrastinate, we don't check in. And next thing we know, time has gone by and we're not getting anywhere. So, the planning techniques portion of my book really focuses on breaking down those big goals and dreams into sizable chunks, the mini steps, the task per month, and looking at this quarter, what are you going to accomplish? That way, when you get into the third step of the book, which is execution habits, so I'll segue over there next, you get into your check in. You're going to look at that quarter and you're going to say, "Well, did I complete all the things that I, put into that plan? Am I still aligned with those big goals and dreams that I've been crafting and looking at?" And that is the time where you either check it off, put that in an accomplishments tracker, celebrate your success, or say, I think I need to pivot here. Or, I had some barriers. Break down why you had barriers and, figure out what you need to do for the next 3 months so that you can be successful. If you wait a whole year to do that, just the time it will take you to get to success is inevitably much longer and potentially you will never get there. So I teach execution habits around data. And the data is checking in with your plans. The data also includes things like if you have a big goal or you have things you're trying to do this month or this week or this quarter, write it on a piece of paper, put it on the mirror in your bathroom or your nightstand or the door of your house, wherever you're going to see it every day. Use good execution habits to visualize your plans and regularly check in with what you're doing. By doing this 3 step method, you're going to look at the 4 pillars of your life: personal growth, financial, career, and community. And your question was about, wealth and getting yourself to this greater place. And my belief is you have to figure out you first. You have to know where you need to grow in your, personal growth, is that travel, education, spirituality, mental health, everything that might go into who you are as a person, so that you can look at your financial plan and say, okay, this is what I need to support me as a person. And then of course the community aspect of, family, you've got to be able to support that. And you make that financial plan, but then you need a career, or what you do with your time in exchange for money, whether that's a 9 to 5 corporate job or gig economy, or what, an entrepreneur, maybe you have your own small business. What do you do for work in exchange for money? And does that plan you've created for yourself in your career feed that financial outlook that you've made a plan around, and then therefore help grow your personal growth? And lastly, it's not last because it isn't important. It's last because it is this beautiful bedrock. It's this community. We have to have people in our lives. So you have to actually create goals around that. Goals around your friends, your family, your external connections. That's volunteer groups or, church or sports teams, whatever you're trying to do with other people. And you have to look at all 4 of those things so that you can build a plan that will get you inevitably to where you want to go in things like wealth, as you're saying in this question.
Beautifully articulated, Miss Alagai. So, w- what are the 3 steps of Summit Method and how does it contribute to a long term financial success?
Awesome. Well, with 3 steps, so planning techniques, sorry, mental tools, planning techniques, and execution habits, those are the 3 steps. And the way they're going to funnel you into your long term financial success goes to that last piece I talked about: execution habits. As part of execution habits, data driven decisions and looking at data is the most important thing. And for anyone out there who's, when I say data and it sounds scary, all I mean is facts and, looking at numbers and not hiding, right? Our minds are a beautiful sandbox. Some of us have some pretty crazy dreams, at night, or you can sit there and daydream about whatever it is that you want. And that's the mind. The mind can just kind of make excuses and create all kinds of illusions. And that will not help you when you are trying to get to a financial future that you're looking for. You can't hide behind these numbers. You can't make excuses for progress. You have to look at the data. And that means tracking. So, part of the Summit method, which again, the 3 steps: mental tools, planning techniques, and execution habits, is the third step: execution habits of looking at data. Specifically, I teach people that you have to have a monthly finance tracker. Now, I'm hoping a lot of you already have this, and it seems like, oh, duh, okay, I've got that covered. Fantastic. You're ahead of a lot of people. So many people out there are not doing the basic action of saying, hmm, what is my income? Right? What's your monthly income? You should know your average monthly income, whether you're a salary employee or hourly. What is your monthly income? Then you need to know, what are your expenses in general? What are you buying every month? What are your bills? What are things that you're shopping for? And do you have an average number that it seems like roughly every month you're spending? Well, your income minus your expenses is going to equal leftovers, either in the positive or the negative. You need to work toward getting to the positive. Asterisk, there is one little thing that we need to make sure we remember in that financial equation, which is debt. If you have loans or other things you're trying to pay off every month, you got to either make sure you put that into your expenses, bucket, or also subtract that. If you have a positive at the end, so that's, income minus expenses minus debt payments, then you have savings. And that savings is what you need to keep growing. And you're going to grow that to a point where you can invest. And now you have investments. And those investments are going to grow, and they're going to grow toward your retirement plan, right? And that all sounds fine and dandy, but ask yourself, do you know what those numbers are? Do you know when you can retire? Do you have a plan for getting through debt and all of these things that, hurt us when we're trying to balance this financial equation? And if you don't, it's because you're not following the third step of the Summit method, execution habits. At the end of every month, you need to go in and take all your expenses, be reviewing them, make sure you're not, signed up for some subscription that you didn't know you were signed up for, and categorize everything. Look at the data and see where you are that month. Where do you want to adjust? Maybe you spent too much on food that month or whatever it might be. Adjust. Look at the next month. Look at the month after that. And you're going to start to see trends. And the first step to what I believe can eventually become financial freedom for people is just wiping away all the cobwebs of your financial situation and actually recording the data. There's lots of apps for this to make it easy if you're overwhelmed with using a spreadsheet, but you got to look at the data. You have to regularly execute monthly on what your financial outlook is so that you can grow from there and insert that into what your dreams are. I actually have a monthly tracker that I've made on Google Sheets that you can get if you go to my website if you're totally starting from scratch and you want to try and figure this out. But that is my basic advice that comes from execution habits. And then, of course, you can just exponentially go from there on where you go to bring financial freedom. But if you don't understand the numbers that you have, you need to start there.
You need to start now.
You do
Now,
need to start
people.
now.
So, Miss Alikay, what specific actions or habits are recommended in the second step to accelerate wealth growth?
Absolutely. So, in accelerating wealth growth, you basically, perfect, because I just talked all about like the details of the wealth equation. So, if you remember everything I just said with taking your income minus expenses minus debt equals savings, you're going to want to grow those savings and you're going to get to investments. And the savings and investments is what's going to help you get toward this financial freedom. But I'm going to pause for a second because you mentioned the second step. And the second step is planning techniques. This is so critical because you need to understand what your goals are. I mean, there's a lot of social media and advertisements and peer pressure and all family pressure out there trying to tell you who you are and what you should be doing. But you need to take the time to sit down and actually architect a plan, determine your goals. What are your financial goals? Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to retire early? Are you, trying to make some other big purchase or just be able to make ends meet so that you can to relieve stress in your life? Forget about growth yet. You are just trying to get to a point of stability. These are all goals. These are things that during the planning techniques portion of my book, you need to go through the mind maps and determine specific financial goals for yourself and make them smart. That's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound, an acronym, which basically says when you craft a goal, make sure it means something. You know, I'll give a classic, health and fitness example of, oh, my goal is to lose weight. Okay, that's not specific. You can't measure that. It's not time bound. Rather than saying, you know, I want to lose 5 pounds by working out 5 days a week and, you know, providing a nutritious diet by 6 months from now. That's a far more specific goal. You're going to do the same thing for your finances. I want to save $40,000 within 4 years so that I can buy a house. Okay. Now you have something that you can go into a spreadsheet, or, if you're not into spreadsheets, there's a lot of people out there who can help you go through this data, financial coaches and whatnot. I'm happy to help you go through some of this data and determine specific goals and how to get there. So you have to go through planning techniques, right? Execution and looking at data is super important, like we talked about earlier. But from step two in planning techniques to get to that exponential financial growth, you have to have goals and dreams. Start there. Then you can go make the plan.
Start there and start now.
Yes.
So, in what ways does the third step of the summit method focus on sustaining and managing wealth over time?
Fantastic. Sustaining and managing wealth. I love that because that's what it is. Financial security and wealth is really not something that overnight, there's no such thing as overnight success. To be fair, I'm sure there are some people who find overnight success, but they say it takes 10 years to become a quote overnight success. And that's the same with financial wealth. You know, it's a step ladder. First step, if I'm talking, really simple, maybe you're just starting. You're graduated high school, maybe you went to college and you graduated college, but you're starting out life really early. And maybe you're someone who's been supported by your parents and you haven't really done that much job work, but all of a sudden you're having to figure out life. You're either, moving out for the first time or getting hit by a bunch of people that suddenly want to go on a trip. And you're like, I don't have any money to go on a trip. That is when you jump into this financial hurdle and this kind of rat race of our financial life. You start with your goals and you use the planning, habits, execution to look at the data. You you won't know overnight what you need to do until you gather that data, which I already mentioned before, which is, taking your monthly tracker, looking at your finances, understanding how you spend and where you need to go. Then as you grow, you can determine what the next step is, but you got to get stable. You have to be able to balance that equation. Income minus expenses minus debt equals savings. And you need savings to be in the positive, or at least zero. That means you're breaking even in a given month. But research ways, find a mentor, get an accountability partner to help you get to that point because it's hard. We,
Yes.
I talked about, youth as an example, but let's hop forward. You're a parent, maybe you're a single parent, and there's just so much happening for you, and you don't even have time to sit down and do this financial equation. I hate to break it to you, I need each and every one of you to find the 30 minutes to sit down and look at your finances every single month as part of this habit, because you have to know that data to grow from there. Then you can
Definitely.
grow even more, right? Get advice from people, and then you can have the fun of going into investments. Investments don't have to be, fancy pants people working in the stock market trying to, trade. Investments can be as simple as, gaining enough. I'd have to look up the exact number it is today. The $2,600, throw it in a Roth IRA
Mm,
and let it grow. You don't have to be working at a company that has a 401k, to do that. You could invest in someone's business. There's a lot of sites out there that are, looking for investors. You can invest in things like vending machines or, other assets that are not trying to create some big company, but they're, tangible assets that will grow over time. Invest in real estate. You don't have to even go out and buy a house to invest in real estate. There are ways to partner with people and get into investment properties at a lower dollar. But that's where you're trying to go, which you can only go until you can only get there when you look at the data and you start going up the bracket. Get to stability, get that equation zero, get that equation to a positive number, get your savings to a big enough number where you can jump into your first investment of your choice. Watch that money grow and get to your retirement plan because that's how you're going to build your legacy.
Definitely. So, Miss Aligai, what would be your advice for those people out there want to write their books?
Nice. So I think that there are so many people out there who have, something to share with the world. Whether that's,
Yes.
my book is a nonfiction. I'm looking to help others and help them change their life for the better. But there's fiction books of all kinds of different genres, children's books, there's memoirs where people actually write essentially their biography, but they write it in a way that is telling stories and sharing lessons. And it's beautiful. So, you know, don't just think writing a book has to be self help or how to like mine. It can be anything. And my best advice to you is to do a mind map. So that means sit down with a blank sheet of paper and write a prompt in the center that goes something along the lines of what in my life have I been, either really passionate about or I have a lot of knowledge in, or, are there any kind of fantasy genres, whether it's, vampires or dragons or, is there a fiction story in you? Maybe it's children's book and lessons you want to tell children. Think about anything and start writing it out. Don't limit yourself. You have 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes and answer that question. What could you write about? And just let all the lines start coming off this bubble. And the important thing about this is to not limit yourself. Maybe you're like, "Ah, I don't know how to write a giant novel about, wizards and whatever." That's okay. That's not the point. The first step is allowing yourself to dream and know that if you can come up with ideas that you're passionate about, the words will just, populate the page because it's coming from a place inside of you that is your heart and your spirit. And then after you come up with a couple ideas, then you can make an outline, right? You just kind of say, well, what would this book look like? What might the chapters hold? What might the plot be of this given thing? And when you have an outline, you have everything. All you have to do is set time each day or a certain amount each week to go in and just start writing. Don't edit, just type, type, type. Let typos come through, let bad ideas come through. Don't limit yourself. And if there's a theme here that I hope you're hearing, which is to get started as a writer, to become an author, you have to not be worried about this imposter syndrome. You are talented, you are amazing, and you can write a book, whatever the subject might be. If you believe in yourself, you take off that barrier of fear and you just write.
Right, 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 people, and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, please do share to the world. So, what is your short term and long term goals in writing, Miss Alahai?
Great question. Short term, well, I have two books out right now. My first book was Conquer Your Summit: How to Build a 5-Year Plan and Live Your Best Life. And the book that I recently published, which is the one you've shown today, The Summit Method: A 3-Step Strategy for Success and Self, Wealth, and Community. Well, I'm taking that further. So, my next book that I'm currently writing right now is The Summit Method for Health and Fitness. The title will probably be a little bit different, but basically, what I'm saying is I'm going to take this summit method, this 3-step approach of mental tools, planning techniques, and execution habits, and I'm going to tailor them down to a very specific subject. In this case, health and fitness. I am someone who believes in the power of yes. If you called me up tomorrow and said, I have permits to, hike Mount Whitney, which is this very tall mountain in California, I would say yes because I value my health and fitness. I'm always working to be able to physically able to do some of the things that I love, which just happen to be outdoor activities. And my whole health and fitness book is about the mindset and power of using something like the Summit Method to help you tackle your specific goals within health and fitness. And that leads to the long term. I am going to be releasing a lot of these in various niches that I have some expertise to be able to explain to people and really, hone in on that niche of small business. The Summit Method for small business. How could you use this to start up something? How can you use this to grow a small business? And other subjects like that. And I want to release trying to release 8 books this year. But you got to have big goals and, go from there. So there's mine.
Good luck for your goals, Miss Alikai, and you are most welcome to come back and promote all those books coming on Book 101 review. So, to sum up our discussion for today, how can someone integrate the Summit method into a broader financial planning strategy to ensure long term prosperity?
Sounds good. To wrap up this show, it will be a easy, quick reminder that will help you get to that prosperity. First, mental tools, because specifically with finances, it can be daunting. I mean, even if you're someone that's making a lot of money, you still have these big goals for yourself and you can still, it's still daunting. It's still a lot of work. You still need mental tools to get you through those hurdles, all the way down to someone who's just getting started. So, honestly, the mental tools section of the Summit Method is most critical when it comes to financial wellness and strength. Because when you have a bad month and you realize how much you're in debt or whatever it might be, bad finance thing might come your way, or you, you crash your car and now you got to go buy a new car and, it just feels like things are weighing on you, you have to have a positive growth mindset. Because the more you, wallow in that negative space, the more you're not going to make progress. And don't get me wrong, it is hard. Depression is real, hiccups happen. But if you focus in my book, both of my books go over different mental tools. Each one has a different one to help share life purpose statements, mind, body, spirit exercises, looking at the way you think and unwrapping your mind. These are critical for you to make sure you have a way to snap out of the bad situations that financial stability can bring for you.
Miss Alika Simone, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world and to empowering us. And can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Absolutely. If you want to find my books, just go to my website, www.conqueryoursummit.com. You can find things about me. You can contact me directly. There's links to my book. I've got an audio book. I actually have courses that will take you through everything. But everything is on that website. If you don't want to go to my website, cut to the chase, go over to Amazon, type in the Summit Method, or type in my name, Alakai Simone, and you'll be able to find all of my books, workbooks, and support notebooks to help you along your journey.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Alika Simone because if you support her, more empowering books to come. So, Miss Alika, thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
More to come, people. See you soon.